Hello, I'm Robin Vincent and welcome to Molten Music Technology. Today I'm looking at something a little bit different. I'm looking at some cases. Yeah, those sort of necessary evils, I suppose. The problem you have in carrying stuff around the place. You might need a case for that. Now, Analog Cases got in touch with me and said, hey, we love your channel, thanks very much, and we would love you to have a couple of our cases so you could do a video on them. And I went, well, okay, it's one of those things, isn't it? I don't know, kind of purchasing a video from me by throwing me stuff. And I said, yeah, sure, absolutely, that'd be great because I need some cases. So for purely selfish reasons, I'm putting together this video just to demonstrate, review the cases they sent me to see whether they're any good, any use, and to big them up or dumb them down depending on kind of how I feel about them, really. Because ultimately, I hope, once this whole pandemic thing is past, I hope to be out there gigging again. And for that, I need to be able to take my stuff securely to where I'm going. Now, so far, I have been taking bits of modular with me to different places in order to do little gigs and little synth meets and all that kind of stuff. And I've sort of packed them the best I can with bubble wrap and then stuck it inside a big speaker case and then strapped that to a trolley and dragged that somewhere. And really, that's not cutting it. And so I found the possibility of owning a decent case to be something worth looking into. I mean, normally speaking, you tend to end up with two choices. You get a really expensive flight case, which is probably worth more than the thing you've put in it, and it's enormously heavy, and you have to drag that thing around, well, hopefully, with a bunch of roadies doing it for you. You can be confident that your gear is going to survive. If it gets knocked, it's fine. You can put nice stickers on it, and that's a professional way of doing it. But if you're trying to transport a synth or a bit of modular from your car in a multi-storey car park to a pub down the Prince of Wales Road in Norwich, then a flight case, I don't think it's going to work, or you're just going to be completely exhausted before you get to the gig. So the other choice tends to be the freebie bags they throw in. When you do that negotiation in a music shop where you go, well, all right, I'll give you $1,000 for the posh synthesizer, and they go, no, we can't do that, mate. We can't. I've got the cheapest price already. And you go, well, all right, then how about you throw in a case? And they go, oh, well, you got me over a barrel, mate, but a case. Yeah, I could do that. And so they throw in a case, and it's the flimsiest, most ridiculous case you've ever seen. It's like the free gig bag you get with your first guitar. It's a waste of time. It's a carrying handle, with some very thin material attached to it. That's as good as it's going to get. So what am I trying to get to with this long story? I'm trying to get to Analog Cases, which is this. This is what they sent me. They sent me two, which is brilliant, and I'm going to tell you all about them. First one they sent me is this one for the KeyStep Pro. The other one they sent me is a chunkier one, this fella, for the COBALT8. Now they are apparently designed expressly for these things. I mean, if you trawl through the website, you can see that they have kind of the same case for lots of different things because they're not stupid. They haven't built just one case for one synthesizer exactly. They've built it to accommodate a few synthesizers because that makes a far more sense than just having them completely individual and probably a lot cheaper. And so something like this case for the KeyStep will probably fit a load of other stuff as well. But let's have a look to see how well that goes. So the first one is called a pulse case, which is this. It's kind of like a shell case. Does that make sense? It's a shell more than it is either a backpack type thing. It's shaped. Let me unzip it for you here. So it's somehow molded, so it's going to retain its shape. It's relatively bendy, but not in a disastrous sort of way. This zip I'm putting on here feels nice and rugged, and you can't really bend it in half. It's lightweight, furry, felty, velvety inside and has a sort of a stretchy kind of tight material little pocket at the top. There you go. Let me stick it under this one here. Do you see that? Opens up like that. Opens up like that. I've never reviewed cases before, so I'm not really sure what you're supposed to say, or what it is that people need to hear. So I'm just trying to be as real with it as I can. So let's stick the KeyStep in it and go from there. So there you have it. How exciting is that? Now you're going to get gaps, well there are gaps at the side, because you're going to need to stick in your USB cable, I should think, like so. Neatly folded and cable tied as always, and potentially a power supply. I don't have the KeyStep one to hand. Did it come with a power supply? You know, I don't even remember, but here's the one for the Cobalt, which would be similar. And that would fit in there without too much trouble. Let's go with that. Well, I could even, move this to here. Put that there. Because it's the spiky bits on the plug that are going to be the most trouble. That's what we're worried about. Not really worried about a USB cable. And then it closes there. Nice. It zips up. Good chunky zip. I'm enjoying the zip. This handle also does that thing where it kind of slides out of itself. That to me makes it feel really, really sort of premium. So that's good. I like that. Doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. Yeah. Bit twisty. There, it's in. Now if I tip it about the place, is it going to slide around? Not really. It's got a bit of a shake to it because there is a gap. There has to be a gap in order to accommodate the knobs. So yeah, it's possible that it will get shaken around if you're going to shake it about, but then why would you be shaking it about? The other thing you could do is stick in a little bit of foam. I mean, mine came with a couple of bits, this sort of stuff in it, but only to keep its shape in shipping. But you could potentially put a couple of things down just to hold it that little bit more rigidly. That would be a possibility. But as it is, what I like about this is the fact that it is rigid, so the case retains its shape, and that makes me feel that the thing inside is going to be relatively safe. The feel of this is really nice. I mean, these are not in any way cheap and nasty. This is $79 according to their website, and it feels worth that. You know, it feels like it's the right sort of price for it, and that's going to fit in there beautifully. It's going to stay in there. It's not going anywhere. Feels good. I stick a couple of cables in there maybe, and I feel completely confident that I could take that to a gig and it's going to work. So yeah, first impressions on the Pulse case at KeyStep Pro then, feel that in there, is that that's pretty nice. I'm liking that. Right, let's now look at the big one. Now they call this the Sustain case, and it's their most versatile case to date because it has like zips on the front here. It has straps on the back in here somewhere. I haven't quite looked into this one yet, but we'll have a look and find out. That's interesting how that's going to work. Now this reportedly is for the Modal COBALT8, but it will also take things like wave states. It will take the MS101 from Behringer, an SH101 obviously. It will take a Mini Logue or Jupiter XM, all that kind of thing. So this is the perfect small synth case. I mean, it's still fabric. It's not a flight case. That handle on there is super fat. Now, it's not like the handle on the other one where it's sort of pulled out of itself. This is just a grippy, solid, slightly spongy, and as you can see, riveted on there, handle. Because my biggest concern about this case is it going to handle the weight of something like the COBALT8 or more, as I'm going to show you in a minute. But let's start with the intention, which is the cobalt. So I'm going to zip the fella. Now in here, let's get rid of that silica gel, I'll eat that later. It comes with a few padded extras. You see all of this all at once. There we go. Comes with these things here, these Velcro slabs. So that means it's more adaptable to the size of thing you're putting in. So those are awesome. I like that. And then in the lid, it's also got a removable paddy bit here, which can put on the top a bit more securely, but you can also take it off if you have knobby bits which are sticking up. Nice. Nice. Again, it's all a bit velvety inside. This is definitely far more cushioned than the shell case, the pulse case we looked at a minute ago. So yeah, let's see if I can get the cobalt in there, see how well that goes. I'm going to need to move this out of the way. Got to remember about the old joystick. That's a troublesome thing on the Cobalt. Cobalt. Yeah, so these things are going to need to move about a bit. So it fits in nice between these two, although these are too long. Okay, so what you do, you've got two there that are holding it that way, and then I guess two in there that are holding it that way. That seems to be the best configuration. I think I might put that a bit more central so that it doesn't twist. Nice. So the question is, where do I put the power supply? And go in something like that. Stuff that in. Still worried about that. That's my greatest worry at this time. Now this case lid here, it does get stuck onto there. So what I could do is, I think I can take this off and move it along a little bit, offset it slightly so it's no longer hitting. That's better, no longer hitting on that joystick. Okay, so there, that's now inside. Well, I mean, it's weighty. It's weighty, certainly, but it feels secure. It's not going anywhere. That added padding is really good. I mean, I don't want to sit on it, obviously, because it's not a flight case. It's just a fabric case. So I'm not going to be sitting on it, but that feels really good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Now, it is heavy, but they have provided straps at the back. Now I'm going to take the COBALT8 out first before I have a look at those. So you turn this over, unzip the back. These magic things come out, and I suppose I zip that back up, do I? Yeah, I must do. So these will, I mean, it came with no instructions, I'm just winging it here, but I reckon they clip onto there. Get this the right way around. Onto there. Good. I like the clips. Clips are nice. Feels solid. And then I can potentially throw it on my back. Like that. So how does that feel with something in it? Well, that's a whole other question. I'm going to get to that in a minute. So there's one other thing I want to check with this, and that's whether it will take some modular. Because, you know, taking a single synth to a gig, that's all very well, but that's not really what I do. Taking KeyStep Pro and some modular, yeah, definitely. Let's give that a go. So, my wonderful case from Lake, modular case here is fantastic, and it has a lid. So that's my first task. I'm just going to lid it up. Now that of course makes it fat. It might make it too fat. I don't know. Let's try it out. Oh, yeah. So, where's the front? Because with the case is great. I love this case. It's really done a fantastic job. As I say, it's from Case from Lake, available on Reverb. But the position of that handle there, which is on the main part rather than the front end lid, if you like, does mean that it's slightly offset, slightly off balance. You know, it's not a major deal. The other thing is that it's a very noticeable case, and carrying this from my car to a gig, that's all right. But I don't actually want to scuff this case either, and I'd rather it wasn't sitting there looking very inviting, sort of thing to take away. So putting it in another case really does appeal. Now it might be too tall. It might be too tall. Maybe I'll have to take the lid off. Would that be better or worse than taking this as it is? I don't know. I'm just trying this out. I'm winging it, right? So I'm going to put this in the same way round, handle-wise, as the case itself. Take that out. Leave those ones in. Because the dimensions are good. Oh, it's just going to be too tall, isn't it? It's just going to be too tall. Now, they didn't send this to me with a view of me putting any modular in it. This is for the Cobalt. I'm just seeing whether it will work. No is the answer. Not with the lid on, but with the lid off, I reckon it would. All right, let's try that. So it's more likely to be sat on the bottom, isn't it? So let's put those bits in here. Like so. That now is resting on all the knobs. Okay, so that's pretty solid. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to try it without that additional padding. Now that closes better. I've just got to be aware of the stress potentially I'm putting on those knobs. Interesting. I'm going with it. There you go. Now that weight is similar to the COBALT8, I would say. I don't think there's anything additional, any problem going on there. So that absolutely could transport an unpatched modular system. There's no room for patch cables. I mean, there's plenty of room around the outside for patch cables, of course. There's no room to leave anything patched up. But then I couldn't do that really with the other case either. It's not really the room for it with the lid. So there you go. That is wrestling the analog case's sustain case into the idea of transporting my modular. I think that's going to work. I think I'm quite pleased with that. You know, obviously, ideally, I would have liked to have the lid on as well. I mean, maybe analog cases do something which is deeper, which would accommodate that. I don't know. I haven't looked into it any deeper. But just using what they sent me, yeah, I'm happy that that works. Right. It's all very well me sitting here putting things in cases going, oh, yeah, that's great. Look, feel the quality of that. You know, how can we road test it? We need to road test it. It's got to be able to survive a trip from the car on floor 8 of the multi-story car park down to the pub. It's got to be able to survive that. How can I emulate that? So probably what's best is if we go for a bit of a walk, because we're allowed to do that in pandemic times. So I'm going to take everybody out. I'm going to go for a wander on our usual route, and I'm going to have this strapped to me, and the other one, I'll take that as well, just to see what that's like. Can it survive the trip? Can the modular survive the trip? I'm pretty confident it can, otherwise I wouldn't take it out in it. And I'll come back and I'll tell you all about it. So picture, if you will, the journey from the car park to the pub as simulated in this walk in the countryside, carrying the 2 bags, this one and this one. We've been walking for about 5 minutes. I can already tell you that this one is cutting to the edges of my fingers a little bit because my hands are just a little bit wider than the handle suggests. This is heavy because it's heavy, but the handle is going really well so far. But it's totally manageable, and we'll check again in a little while. So after sort of another 10 minutes of walking, yeah, I mean they're good. It's heavy. This, as I say, it's a problem because of the width of my hand more than anything else. What would this really benefit from would be a shoulder strap, maybe. But anyway, at this point in the game, I'm going to convert this into the rucksack backpack version, which I do just by zipping this, flipping this on, there and there, trying to do it as if I was like on the street, not wanting to put it down, just converting. Modular is heavy. And there, that's a load off my arm. We'll see how that goes. So there you go, that was a 40-minute walk with these 2 bags. Main feeling is that, I mean, they're heavy. I'm carrying heavy stuff, so it's always going to feel heavy, whatever I do. I mean, it's not designed as a rucksack for you to carry around all day on climbing some kind of mountain. And so, you know, a walk of 10 minutes from a car park to a venue, or 20 minutes, 30 minutes, carrying it on a train where you'll be putting it down, absolutely doable. The thing about this that I found, as I mentioned when I was out and about, is that these bits here on the side, the edges, it's just slightly too narrow for my hand, so it does dig in a little bit. But you know, I'm trying to find problems with something which is otherwise pretty awesome, I have to say. I also mentioned how it could probably do with a shoulder strap. You know, that would be useful, I think. With the larger one, yeah, it definitely weighed heavy because it's got a heavy object inside. But when converted into the backpack, worked brilliantly. No complaints with that. But again, as I say, it's not designed as a rucksack, so it's not perfectly comfortable, but it's comfortable for 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You know, it worked. It does what it says it should. And ultimately, everything inside bits of grass, because I did open it up halfway around to take some photos, and it's perfect as far as I can tell. I love the fact that it fits that. That is just so pleasing to me, you have no idea. I also like the way that these straps pack away. So I don't know about you, but I've got several bags that have detachable straps, but unless you actually keep them with you all the time, you tend to just leave them, whereas this is a brilliant thing, and it provides extra padding for your back. Really clever, like it. So there you go, 2 cases for analog cases. I hope that was a useful and honest and helpful demonstration of their usefulness. This one, the Pulse case, is $79. The larger one, the Sustain case, is $199. So it's a bit more of an investment in this thing, but you are looking after something which is incredibly precious. And so in that regard, it's probably worth it. You could probably get a flight case for that sort of money as well, but it's going to be so heavy to carry around. And this, with the backpack straps arrangement, just makes it a much easier thing to have to deal with. Thank you, Analog Cases, for sending them to me. They are enormously useful. I will absolutely be using them for exactly what I did carrying a KeyStep Pro and my modular to a gig. Perfect. Magnificent, I would say. I have no cases anything like as good as this. And in case you're wondering, yes, they are available in the UK and Europe via things like Thomann and Gear for Music, shops like that. And so good, go and protect your gear. And in the meantime, go make some tunes.